Everybody, welcome back to Wicked Sports and welcome back to the Miami Minute. We cover my favorite team, the Miami Dolphins, who defeated the New York Jets 34-13 to move to 8-3 on the season. First and foremost, just gotta apologize to all the non-Dolphins or Jets fans watching this game because it was not great. With 34 points, you'd think the Dolphins at least would have been somewhat exciting, but not really the case here. Offense didn't look very sharp all game. Raheem Mostert really carried the team, uh, in the second half especially. He had 94 yards on 20 carries for 2 touchdowns. Tua, 21 of 30 for 243 yards, a touchdown, but 2 interceptions that came in quick succession at the end of the first half and wiped out any chance to score going into halftime, though the Jets would help us out there, which I'll get to in a sec. Jalen Waddle had himself a good game. I know he's been frustrated this week. He went 8 for 114. Tyreek Hill added 9 receptions for 102 yards and a touchdown, kept his very solid season going. Jeff Wilson had 3 for 17, and Durham Smythe had 1 for 10. This was really a defensive, showcase once again. Third game in the row where the defense really came out swinging and carried the Dolphins in many ways. Jerome Baker had an interception. Devon Holland, as I mentioned, going into halftime, it was 10 to nothing. Tua threw a pick six. Not great. Still a little bit of time left, I believe under a minute. Tua throws another interception with just a few seconds left while the Dolphins were chipping away, at least potentially going to get into field goal range. If not, just throw up a Hail Mary. But instead of kind of accepting, like, hey, we got the Dolphins 10-6, that's pretty good, the Jets were like, no, we would like to try to go for a touchdown here. They threw a Hail Mary, just a few seconds left in the first half. It was intercepted by Javon Holland. He ran it back 99 yards for a touchdown. And really, after that, it felt like it was entirely over here. I've seen already, and maybe you saw too on the broadcast, if you stuck around that long, already being referred to as the Hail Mary for the Jets to go along with the butt fumbles. So these Thursday, Thanksgiving, or day after Thanksgiving games, not great for the Jets. Christian Wilkins added 2 sacks here. Deshaun Hand had a sack. Emmanuel Ogba had a sack and a half, including a strip sack. Then Raekwon Davis had a half sack. Zach Sealer had a sack. And Jalen Phillips also had a sack. However, it does seem that he hurt his Achilles. He left this game. He was carted off. All the players were around him. That's never a good sign. So, I mean, I feel like every team that plays in New York and even the Giants and Jets fans will always say, like, this field sucks. The NFL needs to change it. Need to force the Jets and Giants ownership to pay for a change. It hasn't happened. It's been years that people have been complaining about it. Most starkly for me, I remember the year after the 49ers lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They came, played the Jets, blew them out, but lost a bunch of players in that and really derailed their season. So I don't know. Will something ever get done on this field? Kind of doubt it, but very disappointing nonetheless. But yeah, again, I think the main focus of this game, very sloppy offensively. There were 3 turnovers, including a fumble by Evans. And he's a young guy. He hasn't played very much this season, so there's miscommunication on the handoff or whatever. It was just bad. Not what you want to see out there. Tua, he has a little bit of an interception problem. I'll be honest. He is not that great when it comes to ball security and making right decisions. He's good for at least 1 interception a game, and he has to fix that. I mean, we've seen Dolphins fans, poking fun at Josh Allen for being overly aggressive with his play style, leading to a lot of interceptions, but we got to take this on the chin as Dolphins fans as well, because this is not great, not better than what Josh Allen is doing. So hopefully they'll get it cleaned up. They have a somewhat soft schedule coming up in the next few games. They get to play the Commanders, who played on Thanksgiving, looked pretty bad against the Dallas Cowboys, the Titans, who are starting a rookie quarterback and have also looked not great. And then they get to play the Jets at home December 17th. So they should have 3 wins from that stretch. They should be 11-3 going into games against the Cowboys, the Ravens, and the Bills to finish off the season. If the Dolphins can win those 3, split at least the Cowboys and the Ravens game, I think the Cowboys are coming to Miami, so maybe look to try to win that one and then not worry as much on New Year's Eve with the Ravens, but we'll see what happens there. The Ravens always play the Dolphins tough. The Dolphins have gotten them the last few times they've played, but the Ravens won a bunch before that. So we'll see what happens there. But if they can be 12-4 heading into that Bills game, maybe the playoff seeding is kind of locked in, depending on how well Kansas City does and how well the Ravens do. Maybe they can rest players against the Bills on week 18, but it's definitely getting very ahead of ourselves. I know it's difficult to not look forward to that point because the Dolphins have been so successful here. 8-3, they've had a good run under Flores and now under Mike McDaniel. They've been competitive and having winning seasons, even if that's 10-7, 9-8, but they look well positioned to really reel off a good amount of wins to close out this season, go into the playoffs, and then, once they're in the playoffs, anything can happen. And obviously, we'll talk more about like seeding and all that as we get closer. That week 17 game against the Ravens could be huge to kind of determine whether or not the Dolphins are going to, be potentially the number 1 seed in the playoffs, or at least beat the Ravens out for that number 2 seed to have, some home playoff games before the AFC Championship game should the Chiefs hang on and secure the number 1 seed. So while this game wasn't great and while there's a lot that the Dolphins need to fix going forward, there is reason to be optimistic. Injuries aside, injuries will happen. You can't control those. I mean, ask the Jets. They lost Aaron Rodgers on the 3rd play. Ask the Bengals. Joe Burrow's out for the rest of the season, so you can't really get too down on those. And the Dolphins are in a good spot. Let me know what you think in the comments section. The Dolphins fan base, we're a miserable bunch. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of people being like, well, it's over. We only beat the Jets by 3 touchdowns. Should have beaten them by more. But would love to hear from you nonetheless in the comment section down below. And other than that, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We cover all the major sports here and teams like the Dolphins specifically. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.